In this video we're going to look at the PIXL Pre-Public Examination Foundation Tier Paper 3. Question 1. We're asked to write the following numbers in order of size and start with the largest number. So one way of doing this is making the number of decimal points on each number, or number of decimal places, the same as this one, which has 3. The way that we do that is just by adding a 0 after each one. This one will need 2, so that'll be 400, and that'll be 40. And now you can compare the numbers here. So the biggest one here is 400, so 7.4 is our largest one. Then we've got this one here, 7.350, so that's 7.35. Next one will be 7.107, and then the smallest, 7.040. You can just imagine that these are whole numbers, so 400, 350, 107 and 40. Moving on to question 2. A scientific calculator costs £9.75. Ben has £85 to spend. Ben buys the maximum number of calculators. How much change should he get from £85? Well, what we need to do is see how many calculators he can actually buy. So we need to do 85 divided by £9.75. That gives us a total of 8.7. Now you can't buy 0.7 of a calculator, so you can only buy 8 calculators. The cost of that is going to be 8 times £9.75. So if we do that on the calculator too, that's going to cost him £78. So the change that he's going to get will be, if he pays £85, his change is going to be, take away 78, we should get £7 change. Question 3. A teacher took some students on an outdoor activity trip. Each student chose to do one activity. The bar chart shows some information about the activities chosen. Which activity did most boys choose? Well, you can see that the boys from the key are this grey colour, and the highest grey bar is this one, so that is going to be climbing. Part B. How many boys went on the outdoor activity trip? Well, again we're looking at the grey because we're talking about boys. So in this first one we have 7. In the next one there are 4. 3 boys went caving and 6 boys went sailing. So if we add up all of those numbers, 7 plus 4 plus 3 plus 6, we should get 20. And then finally, part C, it says 5 girls went sailing, complete the bar chart. So sailing is here, and we need to do a bar that has a height of 5. Please do it on this side, not on this side. Keep it consistent. You have boys on the left, girls on the right. So we'll draw the bar and then do the same key to indicate that it's girls. So these diagonal lines like that. Question 4. The table shows the midday temperature on each day for 8 days. Write down the mode. Well, the mode is the most common. So if we look at these temperatures here, what number occurs the most? Well, the only number that occurs more than once is 11, so the mode is going to be 11. And the range is the largest temperature, take away the smallest temperature. So we're going to have to do 15, take away 9, and that gives us a range of 6. Moving on to question 5. Emma says, if you add any 2 different prime numbers, the answer will always be an even number. Emma is wrong, explain why. Well, if we think of the prime numbers, they are any number that has only 2 factors, 1 and itself. And so the prime numbers, the first 5, we have 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. If we were to add the odd ones together, 3 and 5 or 5 and 7, we would get even numbers, but because 2 is a prime number, we can use that. 2 plus 3 gives us an odd number, so we need to give an example, counter example. 2 is prime, and if we do 2 plus 3, that equals 5. 5 is odd, so Emma is wrong. Capital E for Emma. Okay. Question 6. Here are some patterns made up of dots. In the space below, draw pattern number 4. So it's really important to be careful here on how you draw these. Looking at the first pattern, we've got 3 across and 4 up. Next one, it's got 4 across and 5 up. This one's got 5 across and 6 up. So following that pattern, our one's going to have 6 on the bottom and 7 going up the side. But we need to be careful because this corner one is included in both the vertical and the horizontal side. Same for all of them, so we need to just be careful of that because it's a really easy mistake to make. So I'm going to do the bottom first, so we've got 6 across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if we do 7 up, but using this as the first one, so that's 1 already, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do 6 across, but again, we've already got the first one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, we've got that one at the top. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we've also got the 7th one there. So just check, got 7 up the side and 7 on that side, 6 on the bottom and 6 on the bottom. Going on to part B, we're asked to complete the table. So in pattern number 1, there are 10 dots. In pattern number 2, there's 14. Pattern number 3, there's 18. We can see that this is increasing by 4 each time. So we just need to add 4 and then add 4 again. And then finally, how many dots are used in pattern number 10? Well, all we need to do is just carry on this table until we get to the 10th one. So we're going to add 4 5 more times. So we'll have 30, 34, 38, 42, 46. Answer here is going to be 46. Question 7. There are 185 people in a large swimming pool. 70% of the people are men, a fifth of the people are women, the rest of the people are children. We need to work out how many children are in the swimming pool. Well, if we work out the number of men, the number of women, take it away from the total, we'll be left with the number of children. So we firstly need to find the number of men. So that's going to be 40% of 185. To do that on the calculator, we can just do 0.4 times 185. There are 74 men. For women, there's 1/5 women, so 185 divided by 5, that's how we would find a fifth. You could just times it by a fifth if you wanted to as well, but 185 divided by 5 will get 37 women. And so the combination, those two added together, the total, that gives us 111 men and women. So the number of children is going to be what's left. So 185 take away 111. That's going to give us 74 children. Moving on to question 8. There are 98 black marbles and 42 white marbles in a bag. Write the ratio of the number of black marbles to the number of white marbles. Give your ratio in its simplest form. So we're doing black to white. So the black is going to go first in our ratio. We're going to have 98. And then we're going to have 42. And now we need to simplify it. So we could divide by 2, which will give us 49. And this one will be 21. Both of them are in the 7 times table. So divide them both by 7. We'll get 7 to 3. So that's our simplified ratio. Question 9. John buys 20 1-litre bottles from his local supermarket. A cup holds 150 millilitres of water. What is the number of cups that John can completely fill? Well, if he has 20 litres, 1 litre is 1,000 millilitres, so we have to do 20 times 1,000. That's going to give us 20,000. So we've got 20,000 millilitres of water. To find out how many cups, we divide by the capacity of the cup. So doing that calculation, we get 133.3 recurring. So 133 and a third, but we want to know the number that he can completely fill. So he can completely fill 133 cups. Moving on to question 10. The accurate scale drawing shows the positions of 3 stores, Asda, B&Q and Costa. Jimmy walks from Asda to Costa but stops at B&Q first. So his journey will be from Asda to B&Q and then Costa. And Emily walks directly from Asda to Costa. Jimmy walks more kilometres than Emily walks. How many more? Well, this question will vary depending on how it comes out on the printer, but for my copy that I did, this distance here from Asda to B&Q, when I measured that was 4 centimetres. When I measured B&Q to Costa, that was 5.4, and from Asda to Costa was 6.8 centimetres. Now, what we have is a scale that 1 centimetre represents 3 kilometres. So if we plan Jimmy's route first, he goes from Asda to Costa, but he stops off at B&Q first, so he goes there and then there. So that's 1 centimetre is 3 kilometres, so 4 centimetres is going to be 4 times 3, that's 12 kilometres. 5.4 times 3, that gives us 16.2 kilometres. And then finally, the last distance, Asda to Costa, 6.8 times 3, we get 20.4 kilometres. So Jimmy walks this route, so that's 12 plus 16.2, so he walks 28.2 kilometres. And Emily walks from Asda to Costa, which is 20.4. We're asked to find how much further Jimmy walks, so we'll have to do 28.2 minus 20.4. That gives us 7.8 kilometres. Again, you may have different values. That's based on these values being different. Question 11. Here is a triangle XYZ with each of its sides extended. Show that triangle XYZ is isosceles. Give a reason for each stage of your working. So we need to find the angles in this triangle. The first one we're going to work on is this one here, and we can work that one out because angles on a straight line add up to 180. So when giving a reason, we need to state the rule that we're using. So let's work out the size. 180 take away 105 will leave us with 75 degrees, and let's state that. So our first reason is angle ZXY, that's the angle that we've done, this one, ZXY, that's here, is 75 degrees because the angles on a straight line sum to 180. That's the rule that we've used. The next one that we'll do is this one here, and that's angle ZYX, and that one is 30 degrees because they are vertically opposite angles. So here's our reason. Angle ZYX is 30 degrees because vertically opposite angles are equal. Finally, let's do the remaining angle. Well, to work that out, we have to know that the sum of all the angles make 180, and we have to take away the other two angles. So if we subtract these two angles from 180, if we add them together we get 105. 80 take away 105 gives us 75 degrees. So how did we get that? Well, we used the rule that the sum of the angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. So angle XZY, so that's this angle, is 75 degrees because angles in a triangle sum to 180. Now we need to say why it's isosceles. Well, it's isosceles because it's got two angles that are the same. So our final statement, triangle XZY is isosceles because it has two angles the same size. Question 12. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals 2x minus 1 for the values of x from -2 to 3. Well, when you're plotting a graph like this, it's probably easiest just to set up a table and plot in the values. So we've got our x values and our y values, and we're going to create a table to help find all of the values. So remember, we're going from -2 all the way up to 3, and we need to plot every number in between as well. So -1, 0, 1, and 2. So here's our table. We just need to now work out what y is for each one of these. So we've got 2x minus 1. So 2 times x, 2 times -2 gives us -4. Take away 1 gives us -5. Then we need to use this value for x in the equation. So 2 times -1 gives us -2. Take away 1 is -3. Now we're going to use 0. 2 times 0 is 0. Take away 1 gives us -1. Then we're using 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Take away 1 is 1. You can see a pattern here, it's increasing by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Take away 1 is 3. And if we just continue that pattern, we get 5 for the last one. And now we need to plot it into the graph. So they've already drawn the axes, labelled it for us, which is very useful. So the first coordinate is when x is -2 and y is -5. So x is -2, y is -5. So they'll meet at that point there. So let's draw that one in. Then we have x is -1, y is -3. That is that point there. Then x is 0, y is -1. So that point right there. Then we have x is 1, y is 1, x is 2, y is 3, then finally x is 3, y is 5. Finally, you're going to need to use a ruler to join up all of these points, something like that. Make sure you use a ruler and connect all the points. If you have one that's off somewhere like that, then you know it's wrong and you're going to have to recalculate that one. You shouldn't have a line that's not straight when you don't have any powers of x. If you had something like x squared or x cubed, or in fact you had something like 1 over x, you would get curvy lines, but for where it's like this, you won't. So make sure you get a straight line, and if you do get values or results like this that are off the line, then recalculate them to get a straight line. Question 13. Easy Wheels Driving School have released an advert. 9 out of 10 of the people we teach passed the driving test first time. ESA talked to 64 people who had been taught to drive by the Easy Wheels. 56 of these people passed the driving test first time. Does this support what is said in the advert? You must show how you get your answer. Well, there's lots of ways of doing it, but we can compare them as fractions. So if 9 out of 10 are supposed to pass, we need to find, is it the same as 56 out of 64? If we simplify this fraction, 56 over 64, we'll get 7 over 8. And now we need to compare, are these two fractions equivalent? Well, it's easier to compare them if we make them decimals, so 9 over 10 is 0.9 and 7 over 8 is 0.875. They're not the same, so it does not support the advert. So make a concluding sentence: ESA's research does not support the advert. Let's move on to question 14. The nth term of a number sequence is n squared plus 3. Find the first three terms of this sequence. Well, for the first term, we're going to substitute 1 instead of n. For the second term, we're going to substitute 2. And for the third term, we're going to substitute 3. So for the first term, we're going to do 1 squared plus 3. For the second term, we're going to do 2 squared plus 3. And for the third term, we're going to do 3 squared plus 3. And if we work those out, 1 squared is 1 plus 3 is 4. 2 squared is 4 plus 3 is 7. And 3 squared is 9 plus 3 is 12. So those are our 3 terms there. So just note, instead of n, for the first one we've put in 1. For the second one, we've put in 2. And for the third term, we've substituted 3 instead of n. Becky says that 147 is a term of the sequence. Which term is it? Well, the way that we can do this is to say that the sequence equals 147 and then see if we get what number we get when we solve it. So I have to balance the equation, so n squared is going to be the same as 147 minus 3, which is 144. So n squared is 144, so something squared is 144. To find that, we're going to have to do the square root of 144. Square root of 144 is 12, so it's the 12th term. Question 15. We're asked to simplify q cubed times q to the power of 8. Well, when we have a question like this, we are going to add these two powers together. The reason that is because Q cubed means Q times Q times Q 3 times, and then we're going to be multiplying that with Q to the power of 8, which means Q times Q times Q 8 times. So then in total we have 3 and 8, which means we're going to have Q to the power of 11. So that's why we can add these powers. The same with simplifying with this division, second one, but rather than adding, we're going to be subtracting. So we're going to get h to the power of 5. 7 take away 2. If we look at the reason for that, what we have is h to the power of 7, so h times itself 7 times, over h squared, h times itself 2 times, and we can just cancel h with h and that h with that h, and we just are left with h to the power of 5. Moving on to part C, we're asked to simplify y squared to the power of 5. So what that means, we'll have y squared times y squared times y squared 5 times. So what we'll have to do is multiply these two numbers. 2 times 5, we're going to get y to the power of 10. Part D, we're asked to factorise x squared minus 16. Now, this is the difference of two squares. We have a square number here, x squared, and 16 is a square number, and we have the difference because we're subtracting a square number from another square number. And so all you need to do in this scenario is write the square root of each one. So square root of x squared is x, square root of 16 is 4, and we add in that bracket and we subtract in the other. And you can check whether this works, because we'll have x times x gives us x squared, plus 4 times minus 4 is minus 16, and then 4 times x is plus 4, minus 4 times x is minus 4, 4x minus 4x is 0, so we don't have a x term, we have an x squared term and a constant term, a numerical term. She needs 30 grams more plain flour, and she'll need 10 grams more butter. There's our concluding statement: 30 grams more plain flour needed and 10 grams more butter. Question 17. Trains to Slough leave Reading station every 26 minutes and trains to Southall leave the same train station every 10 minutes. A train to Slough and a train to Southall both leave the train station at 9:30. When will a train to Slough and a train to Southall next leave the train station at the same time? Well, what we need to do here is find when will these two numbers in their times tables have the same number again. So lots of ways of doing it. We can do it by listing. So we can do the 26 times table, so 26, the next one 52, add another 26, we'll get 78, add another 26, 104, add another 26, that's 130. We can see that's the number, first number in the 10 times table because it ends in a 0. So the next train is 130 minutes ahead or after 9:30. 130 minutes is 2 hours and 10 minutes. So 2 hours and 10 minutes added on to 9:30 will be 11:40 a.m. That's when the next time when both trains will leave at the same time. Moving to question 18. Timothy, Jane and Sarah share £275. The ratio of the amount of money Timothy gets to the amount of money Sarah gets is 1 to 5. Timothy gets £96 less than Sarah gets. What percentage of the £275 does Jane get? Give your answer to 3 significant figures. Well, we need to first work out the money that Timothy and Sarah get. So Timothy gets 1 for every 5 that Sarah gets. So she has 5 times as many as Timothy. Now, Timothy gets £96 less than Sarah. So Timothy gets 1 box, and that would be the equivalent to this amount. So that means that these 4 boxes are the extra that Sarah gets, and they are worth £96 in total. So to work out 1 box, we do 96 divided by 4, and we'll find that each part is worth 24. So Timothy gets 24 in total. Sarah gets 120 in total. So together they get £144. We need to work out what percentage of the £275 does Jane get. Well, Jane gets the rest, so we have to do 275, take away 144. That's going to give us 131. So she gets £131 out of 275. To get that as a percentage, we need to times by 100. The amount that we get is £47.63 recurring. Now to 3 significant figures. The third significant figure is this one, that first decimal place. So we're going to look at that number. If it's 5 or more, we'll round this number up. If it's 4 or less, then we'll keep this number the same. It is less than 4, so we're going to keep this number the same. So our final answer will be 47.6%. That's to 3 significant figures. Question 19. Gurdeep thinks that y plus 7 to the power of 2 equals y squared plus 49 for all values of y. Is Gurdeep right? You must show how you get your answer. Well, y plus 7 to the power of 2 means y plus 7 times y plus 7. And if we were to work this out, I like to work these quadratics out using a grid. I'm going to do y plus 7 times y plus 7. So each box we need to work out. So y times y is y squared. y times 7 is 7y, y times 7, 7y again, and 7 times 7 is 49. So we get y squared plus 7y plus 7y plus 49. Now, these two simplify to be plus 14y, and we have y squared and 49. So we can see that Gurdeep is not right because we have a plus 14y term in there as well. So Gurdeep is not correct. There should be the term 14y included as well. Moving on to question 20. It says the table gives information about the speeds of 85 motorbikes on a road, and we're asked to work out the estimate for the mean speed. Now, it's an estimate because we're given groups of data. So there are 9 motorbikes that had speeds between 30 and 40, but we don't know exactly how fast they were going. They could have been going 31 kilometers per hour, they could have been going 39, they could have been going 36.8. They could be anywhere within that range. So to make an estimate, what we're going to have to do is say that, or assume that they were all going, or average them out, going at the midpoint. So the midpoint for the first group is 35, the one for the next one is 45, 55 and 65. And so if there were 9 bikes, we're assuming that they were all going at 35. We need to multiply the frequency, the number of bikes, by the speed that we are estimating that they were going. So we're going to do 9 times 35, 25 times 45, 34 times 55, and 17 times 65. So we're going to write our answers in this column. We're going to do the frequency times the midpoint, and I'll work those answers out. So I've multiplied all of those numbers together and I've got these answers. And then finally, the way that we work out the mean is by adding up the total number. So this is the total for those 9 bikes, that's the total for those bikes, that's the total for these ones, that's the total for those ones. If we add all of these numbers, we'll get the total for all of the bikes. So I'm going to write the total here. The total was 4,415, and the total number of motorbikes is 85. So the sum of all of the motorbike speed divided by the number of motorbikes is going to give us the mean. And got an answer of 51.94. It's a long decimal number. I'm just going to leave it at that. It'll round to 51.94. Just make sure that you write it on the answer line next to the unit. So 51.94 kilometers per hour. Question 21. The rail company increased all prices of train tickets by 2%. The cost of a return ticket from Birmingham to Banbury increased by £1.20. Work out the price of the ticket before the increase. Well, all tickets have been increased by 2%, and that increase was £1.20. So 2% of the normal price is £1.20. That means that 1% of the normal price is half of this, 60 pence. So the full price, which would be 100%, is going to be 100 times 60 pence, which will give us £60. So that was the original price of the tickets before the increase. Question 22. We're asked to write 47,600,000 in standard form. Now the way that we do that is by writing it as a number between 1 and 10 times 10 to the power of something. So to make this into a number between 1 and 10, it's going to be 4.76. What would we have to times that by? To times it by 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in order to get it back up to 47,600,000. So 4.76 times 10 to the power of 7. Now the next one, we've got to work out 2.6 times 10 to the power of minus 5 times 3.71 times 10 to the power of minus 2. Well, the easiest way to do this is to multiply together the whole numbers. So when we do that, we're going to get 9.646. And then if we multiply together the two powers of 10s, we'll have 10 to the power of minus 5 times 10 to the power of minus 2. We're multiplying index numbers, so we're going to add these two numbers. So minus 5 add minus 2 is going to give us 10 to the power of minus 7. So that is our final answer, because this is a number between 1 and 10, and we have it times 10 to the power of something. Question 23. A, B, C and D are four vertices of a regular hexagon. Angle BCY is 90 degrees. Work out the size of angle DCY. So angle DCY is this angle DCY. So that's here. You must show how you get your answer. Well, we're told that this is a regular hexagon, this angle here, and we know that this is 90 degrees. So for the hexagon and a regular hexagon, the angles inside of a hexagon add up to 720. The way that you get that is by doing the number of sides, take away 2, times by 180. So that's 4 times 180, which is 720. To get one angle, we have to divide that by 6. So 720 divided by 6 gives us 120. So if that's 120, then we're going to get 90 plus 120 is 210. And then finally, to work out DCY, we'll have to do 360 minus 210, because angles around a point make 360. And when we do that, we're going to get an answer of 150. So 150 degrees is our final answer there. Question 24. There are 5 banana smoothies and 4 apple smoothies in a box. Mustafa takes, at random, one smoothie from the box. He writes down its flavour and puts it back into the box. Mustafa then takes, at random, a second smoothie from the box. Complete the probability tree diagram. Well, this set of branches here represents the first time that Mustafa takes something from the box. Now, there are 5 banana smoothies out of a total of 9, and there are 4 out of 9 apple. Then for the second pick, which is represented by these ones, again, because he's put them back in the box, there's still going to be 5 out of 9 banana and 4 out of 9 apple. So we just need to fill out the tree, putting in the correct fractions. Part B asks us to work out the probability that both smoothies are apple flavour. So that means that the first time he picks one, he'd have to take an apple one. So we're going to have 4 over 9. That's the probability of doing it the first time. And then the second time, he would again have to take an apple one, which again is 4 over 9. So we'll multiply those two fractions together, which gives us 16 over 81. Question 25. The diagram shows the floor plan of Olivia's dining room. Olivia is going to cover the floor with wooden floorboards. The floorboards are sold in packs. A pack of floorboards costs £14.60 and will cover 2.25 metres squared of floor. We need to work out the cost of buying enough floorboards to cover the dining room floor. Well, first things first, we need to work out the area of her dining room. So let's section this off into two rectangles that we can find the area of. This part here is going to be 4 times 3, which is going to give us 12 metres squared. The other part, this one here, we have 1.5 times 2. That's going to give us 3 metres squared. So the total area is 15 metres squared. How many floorboards packs is she going to need? Well, we're going to have to divide that by 2.25, which gives us 6.6 recurring. Well, you're not going to buy 0.6 recurring packs, so she's going to need 7 packs, and the cost of that is going to be 7 times £14.60. That gives us a total price of £102.20. Remember to write 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money. Part B says that Olivia finds out that a pack of floorboards will cover more than 2.25 metres of floor. Explain how this might affect the number of packs that she needs to buy. Well, if this number is bigger, then it's going to make the number of floorboard packs that she needs less. So she may need to buy less packs because she'll need less floorboards. So there's our statement. She may need to buy less packs of floorboards. Question 26. ABC is a right angled triangle. We're asked to work out the size of BAC and give our answer correct to 3 significant figures. Well, angle BAC is this one, and it's a right angle triangle. We're given 2 side lengths, we're asked to find an angle, so we're going to be using trigonometry. So we're going to be doing SOHCAHTOA. So what we need to do is label this triangle with opposite, adjacent and hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always the one opposite the right angle, so that's our hypotenuse. Opposite is the one opposite the angle, and we have our adjacent here. The 2 side lengths that we know are 7 and 8, so we're going to be using the opposite and the adjacent, which means we're using tan. So tan of our angle, let's call that x, tan x equals opposite over adjacent, so that's 8 over 7. So to find x, we need to do the inverse tan, so tan to the minus 1 of 8 over 7. If we work that out on our calculator, we get 48.814, some more numbers after that, but we're asked to round it to 3 significant figures, which means we're going to round to this third number here. So draw the line. Looking at the number after it, that's 1, which is less than 5, so we're going to keep this number the same. So we'll have a final answer of 48.8 degrees.